children, today let us study about significant figures. In order to explain significant figures, first let me explain the term precision and accuracy. Okay children, first let me explain precision and accuracy with the help of an example. Just listen here. Consider three students, that is A, B and C. They have done an experiment to find the mass of an object. Let us consider that A got the mass of the object as 2 grams, 2.00 gram, and it is the correct value. B got the mass of object as 1.93 gram and 1.94 gram. Is it clear children? B got the mass as 1.93 and 1.94. And on the other hand, C got the mass of the object as 1.99 gram and 2.01 gram. Okay. Now you just consider the value of A, the value whatever be the mass of the object A got it as, we can consider it as the correct value, that is the true value. Now if you consider in case of B, you can see that the values are 1.93 and 1.94 which are close to each other. These two values are close to each other, that means they are precise values, but they are not close to the true value. So the values are not accurate. Is it clear children? These two values are precise values. That means the values which obtained by B are close to one another. That is why we consider them as precise. On the other hand, you consider the value of C. Here we can see that in case of C, you got the values are that is precise. Okay, 1.99 and 2.01, that is in both the cases it is approximately equals to 2, and if the values are accurate also. Is it clear children, the difference between precision and accuracy? We can see that precision means it represents the closeness of various measurements for the same quantity. It is the closeness of various measurements for the same quantity, that is 1.934 and 1.94 grams. Both of them are precise to each other. The values are close to one another. So it represents the closeness of various measurements for the same quantity. On the other hand, accuracy represents the agreement of a particular value to the true value of the result. The true value is 2 gram, and here you can see that 1.99 means it is approximately equals to 2, or 2.01 is also approximately equals to 2. Is it clear children? The difference between precision and accuracy. Now let us consider what are significant figures. Significant figures means we can say that we can define it, or we can consider that the figures which are known with certainty. The meaningful digits which are known with certainty are considered as significant figures. In order to find out significant figures, let us follow certain rules. The first one, we can say that all non-zero digits are significant. All non-zero digits are significant. For example, if I consider 235. In 235, how many significant figures are there? 3 significant figures are there. Since all of them are non-zero digits, so we can say that they possess 3 significant figures. Or if you consider 5624, it possesses how many significant figures? 4 significant figures. So we can say that all non-zero digits are significant. The second one, we can see that the zeros preceding to the first non-zero digit is not significant. For example, if you consider 0.003. 0.003 means it is having only one significant figure. Zeros preceding to the first non-zero digits are not significant. Is it clear? Another example, you consider 0.00052. It is having how many significant figures? Yes, 2 significant figures. Is it clear children? Zeros preceding to the first non-zero digit are not significant. Third point, we can consider that zeros in between non-zero digits are significant. That is, whatever be the non-zero digits which are coming, zeros which are coming in between the non-zero digits are significant. Can you tell me how many significant figures are there? 3 significant figures. Now the fourth point, we can consider that zeros to the zeros at the end or right of a decimal point are significant. Suppose if you consider 30.0. 30.0 means again it possesses three significant figures. That is, zeros at the end or right of a number are significant. Is it clear, children? Or you consider that is 200.0. 200.0 means it is having four significant figures. Is it clear? Zeros at the end or right of a decimal number are significant provided they are on the right side of a decimal point. And the last point we can say that the countable objects, the number of significant figures are infinite. Is it clear? If you consider 12 mangoes, 12 mangoes means we can say that it is having two significant figures, or if it becomes 12.0, that is having three significant figures, or 12.00, it is having four significant figures, and so on. Is it clear, children? Significant figures means the figures which are known with certainty are termed as significant figures. Is it clear, all of you? Now let us consider how we can apply these significant figures in order to do the process of that is maths, that is particularly for addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. First let us consider in case of addition and subtraction. Just consider a question, that is you consider it as 12.11 plus 18.0 plus 1.312. Okay. So it is asked to find out the sum of these three numbers and find out the number of significant figures. So first let us take the sum. You got it as 31.422. Now just see, children, in order to find out the number of significant figures, you have to go to the question. In the question, just find out the number which is having the least number of decimal places. Least number of places after the decimal. Yes, 18.0 possesses only one place after the decimal. That means your answer should also be corrected to only one place after decimal. Is it clear, children? Whenever you are doing in case of addition and subtraction, to find out the number of significant figures, we will see the number which is having the least number of decimal places. That means your answer will be having three significant figures, that is 31.4. Is it clear, children? And the same is with subtraction also. Suppose if you just consider in case of multiplication and division. Just consider multiplication and division. That is, here we can say that whatever be the number of the digits which is having the least number of significant figures, that will be considered. Suppose if you consider the multiplication of 2.5 into 1.25. To find out the number of significant figures, so first you can find out the product, or without that also you can even calculate the number of significant figures. In this case, first let us simplify it. Okay, you got it as, that is the answer will be 3.125. Now, in order to find out the number of significant figures in your answer, again come back to the question. In the question, the first number follows two significant figures, and in the second one you are having three significant figures. Okay, children? So, the number which is having the least number of significant figures means it is 2.5. It possesses only two significant figures. So, your answer should also be corrected to two significant figures. That means you can consider it as 3.1. Is it clear, children? Is it clear in case of addition and subtraction as well as multiplication and division what we are supposed to do? In case of addition and subtraction, we will see that number which is having least number of places after decimal. And in case of multiplication and division, we will see the number which possesses least number of significant figures, and accordingly we will be writing the answer. Suppose when you are correcting the answer, children, if your number, suppose you consider this number. Okay, you have to correct it to two places after decimal. The third number is 5. When the number is equals to 5, just see the number previous to that, and if it is an even number, you keep it the same way. You can write it as 3.12. But suppose instead of this, if the number is like this, 3.135. In this case, the number before 5 is 3, which is an odd number. So, you should add 1 to the previous number. Is it clear, children? If the number is an odd number, you add 1 to the previous number. Is it clear? So the number becomes 3.14. Is it clear? Otherwise the correction we have to follow the same rules what you are studied in lower classes. Only about this thing, if it is equals, if it is greater than 5, you know that you are supposed to add 1 to the previous number. If it is less than 5, you have to just neglect the number. If the number is equals to 5, just see the number before that. If it is an even number, neglect it, and if it is an odd number, add 1 to the previous number. Is it clear, children? Significant numbers, significant figures, and how to calculate it? Okay, thank you. Good morning, children. Let us continue our class. Let us see what is meant by sociometry. You know, children, that is particularly in inorganic chemistry, balancing of equation is a must. And we have already studied that in order to prove law of conservation of mass, balancing of equation is a must. And here sociometry means it is the branch of chemistry in which we are studying about the calculation of masses of reactants and products involved in a chemical reaction. Is it clear? Sociometry means it is the branch of chemistry in which we are going to deal with the masses of reactants and products that is involved in a chemical reaction. For example, if you consider that is magnesium reacts with HCl, produces magnesium chloride and hydrogen. Now when you balance this reaction, you know that when you balance it, you know that 1 mole of magnesium reacts with the 2 moles of HCl and produces magnesium chloride as well as hydrogen. So this thing what we are using, that is the balanced chemical equation we will be using in sociometry in order to solve the questions. Is it clear? So sociometry means it is the branch of chemistry which deals with the study of calculation of masses of reactants and products that is involved in a chemical reaction. Okay, children. Now let us discuss about limiting reagent and excess reagent. You just consider the formation of water. You know that hydrogen combines with oxygen and produce water. Okay, we have just considered an equation and just imagine that the amount of hydrogen is equals to 75 ml and that of oxygen is 50 ml. You know that the ratio between hydrogen and oxygen is 2:1. That means whatever be the amount of hydrogen, that should always be double that of oxygen. But according to the condition in our question, we have 50 ml of oxygen and only 75 ml of hydrogen. That means as the reaction proceeds, the amount of hydrogen is less. 50 ml of oxygen will be, oxygen means 100 ml of hydrogen. So is it possible to continue the reaction? No. That is, hydrogen is completely consumed, or because of the limitation in the presence of hydrogen, the reaction is stopped. Such a reagent which is completely consumed in the reaction, or which is responsible for stopping the reaction, which is responsible for the limitation of the reaction, is termed as limiting reagent. Is it clear, children? The reagent which is completely consumed in the reaction, or as a result of the limitation of that reactant, the reaction is stopped. Such a reagent which is present in small quantity is termed as limiting reagent, and the other reagent which is present in excess, that is termed as excess reagent. Is it clear, children? What is the difference between limiting reagent and excess reagent? And all this place, the questions are given in NCERT, so please solve it. And there are questions related to sociometry also. Okay, now let us pass to some of the basic terms which is given in the chapter, and we can wind up the chapter. That is, first let us see what is the difference between this mass and weight. Mass is considered as the quantity of matter present in it, present in a body. The quantity of matter present in a body is termed as mass. But on the other hand, weight means it is the force with which the body is attracted towards the center of earth. Is it clear, children? Mass is defined as the quantity of matter present in it, but weight is the force with which the body is attracted towards the center of the earth. Or mass remains a constant. Mass is not going to change, but weight varies from place to place. As g changes, as acceleration due to gravity changes, weight also varies. The unit of mass, we all know that it is kilogram, and that of weight is kilogram weight, or we can consider it as Newton. Is it clear, children? The difference between mass and weight. Mass is the quantity of matter present in a body, but weight is the force with which the body is attracted towards the center of the earth. Next term, you consider density. You know, density means it is the ratio between mass and volume. It is the ratio between mass and volume. Or density is equals to mass upon volume. Or we can say that the unit of density is kilogram per meter cube. Is it clear? The ratio of mass to the volume is termed as density, and its unit is kilogram per meter cube. The last term, let us consider temperature. Temperature is defined as the degree of hotness or coldness of a body. You know that, I mean, whether the body is hot or cold. In order to measure that, we are using the term temperature. Temperature, if it is given in Fahrenheit, which we are not using it now, that is equals to 9/5 into degrees Celsius plus 32. Okay. That is, whenever you want to convert temperature to a degree Celsius, if it is given in Fahrenheit, if you want to convert degree Celsius to Fahrenheit, you can use this relation 9/5 into degree Celsius plus 32. Or if it is given in Celsius and you want to convert it into Kelvin, which is the standard unit of temperature, we can say that it is degree Celsius plus 273.15. This is the unit which we normally use in numericals. Is it clear, children? Whatever be the temperature given in degree Celsius, just to that you have to add 273.15 so that you can convert the temperature to Kelvin. Is it clear, children? So thus we have completed our first chapter. Just pass through all the means, solve each and every question which is given in the NCERT book, and if you face any problem, please don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you, children.